Blake Lively once floated above Hollywood's turbulence. Magazine covers painted her as a 21st century fairy tale heroine. Van Cleef diamonds, playful tweets with Ryan Reynolds, and the aura of a star who somehow dodged scandal for nearly 2 decades. That aura cracked on the 18th of December 2024 when reporters opened a fresh federal docket and found her name atop 80 pages of allegations against Justin Baldoni, the man hired to guide her leap from TV icon to gritty film lead. Overnight, Blake transformed from relatable momfluencer to lightning rod. Talk show hosts framed her as a new #MeToo crusader, while TikTok recut Gossip Girl scenes with headlines screaming, "Lily Bloom nightmare." Yet industry lawyers whispered that her complaint was only the first grenade in a much longer war. And they were right, because that was just the opening crack. The gamble began months earlier when Blake signed on to play Lily Bloom in It Ends With Us, Colleen Hoover's book talk juggernaut. The adaptation looked bulletproof: Hoover's fan base, Baldoni's romance credentials, and Blake finally returning to the big screen after kids, endorsements, and a pandemic. But leaked set photos sparked instant outrage. The copper wig was Party City, the age gap unwatchable, the styling cosplay Gen Z. Twitter turned into a roast pit. Backlash might have fizzled if the internet hadn't created a cottage industry around Hoover accuracy. Bookstagram accounts posted collages comparing Lily's violet scar to Blake's unmarked cheek, captioning "continuity crime." TikTok dermatologists debated whether the character's injuries should leave hyperpigmentation. Even bronzer placement became a referendum on authenticity, signaling that every frame would face forensic scrutiny. During a July night shoot outside a Boston brownstone, bystanders filmed Baldoni escorting extras downstairs after what witnesses described as a blow-up over blocking. Reddit quickly spun that half-minute clip into a rumor. Blake had banished Baldoni to the basement while she rewrote scenes upstairs. Production denied it, yet the meme mutated across tabloids. Director forced underground while star calls the shots. Insiders later said Blake was lobbying for tighter set protocols after witnessing what she felt were safety lapses. But by then, the internet had already judged. 7 days before Christmas, Blake detonated her first legal strike. Her civil complaint claimed Baldoni removed the intimacy coordinator, improvised extended kissing takes, and joked about method chemistry. Redacted midnight texts showed Blake begging producers for boundaries. One producer responded with a single thumbs-up emoji, an image that went viral as shorthand for corporate indifference. SAG-AFTRA backed her, and public opinion flipped again. Blake became a heroine, Baldoni a potential villain. For 48 hours, it looked like his career was over. Yet buried in the final paragraph of Blake's filing was a demand for script revisions, co-writing credit, and arbitration over back-end points. To lawyers, that sounded less like pure whistleblowing and more like a power play. On the 22nd of January 2025, the countersuit landed with the weight of a meteor: $400 million for defamation and tortious interference, 39 counts, 91 footnotes. Baldoni alleged Blake, buoyed by her marriage and strategic friendships, tried to seize creative control and leak cherry-picked emails to a New York Times columnist. Ryan Reynolds and a publicist were named as non-party co-conspirators. Entertainment attorneys called the dollar figure theatrical, but clever. It guaranteed wall-to-wall coverage. In press interviews, Baldoni insisted the astronomical number wasn't personal enrichment, but a figure bond companies needed to ensure global losses if the film collapsed. Similar billion-dollar suits once leveraged settlements in comic book disputes. Here, the gambit backfired. YouTube essayists dissected every legal clause: Swifties, Deadpool stans, Hoover diehards. Each fandom dug digital trenches. Deadline joked to discourse around a mid-budget romance now carried the emotional stakes of Infinity War. Not all battles unfold in court. Mid-February, Baldoni arrived at Blake's Manhattan penthouse for script notes. Elevator doors opened onto mood boards and soy candles, and 3 unexpected observers, Ryan in a vintage Hawks jersey, Taylor Swift in a gray cashmere hoodie, and publicist Molly Hart with a notepad. They'd just watched Blake's rewritten rooftop scene on an iPad and praised it lavishly. Baldoni stayed diplomatic, suggested blending drafts, then left. 2 hours later, his phone pinged. "I have a few dragons, usually for better because they protect the ones I fight for. You will benefit." There were no names, yet Baldoni read the subtext. Disagree, and the fandom firestorm reignites. Spring delivered subpoenas. Baldoni's lawyer, Brian Friedman, moved to depose Swift, alleging Blake had threatened to leak a decade of private texts unless Swift issued a statement of support. Swift's camp called it weaponized fan fiction. Yet Judge Louis Lyman allowed limited discovery because Blake herself cited Taylor as someone who'd witnessed on-set complaints. Overnight, pastel friendship bracelets turned into potential evidence exhibits. Privacy advocacy groups pounced. The Electronic Frontier Foundation warned that weaponizing private texts set a dangerous precedent for artistic collaboration. Oddly, Stans adopted the argument in reverse. Hash released the text trended as fans demanded total transparency. It was digital doublethink, demanding both absolute privacy and total disclosure in the same breath. The subpoena may have died, if not for Scott Swift, Taylor's father and longtime financial strategist, volunteering emails he believed would defuse the request. Friedman dropped the subpoena, but the damage lingered. Collateral fallout was immediate. Fans spotted NFL star Travis Kelce unfollowing Ryan Reynolds on Instagram. Sports blogs treated the click like a trade rumor. Paparazzi cornered Reynolds outside a Santa Monica gym, asking, "Why did Travis ghost you?" He smiled, said nothing, and drove off in a Rivian, all of which fan cams replayed frame by frame. Insiders whispered Blake left tearful voicemails for Taylor, insisting she'd never risk a decade of secrets. Netflix quietly paused informal talks with Blake's production banner. On Reddit, an assistant claimed Ryan was livid. His gin brand had become collateral in a suit he never wrote. Meanwhile, Hoover devotees feared the movie would die in limbo. Atlantic culture writers churned essays on how parasocial friendships implode under legal floodlights, and every headline, even negative, added kerosene to the gossip. On the 9th of June, Judge Lyman dismissed Baldoni's $400 million countersuit, but allowed him to amend narrower claims. Blake posted an Instagram story of a sunrise and champagne flute captioned, "Another woman beats a smear." Baldoni's attorney retorted in Variety, "Dismissal doesn't erase commercial damage." Hashtags #TeamBlake and #BoycottBaldoni surged, though each spike was smaller than the last, signs of audience fatigue. Legal analysts reminded viewers that Blake's original harassment claims were still marching through discovery. Insurance on the film doubled. The studio trimmed marketing budgets elsewhere to offset risk. Privately, both camps explored mediation, but refused to blink first. For every headline about a clear victory, lawyers clocked more billable hours, and the public learned the legal phrase, "without prejudice." Stock analysts even referenced the feud on quarterly calls. One media conglomerate executive slipped "agnostic to marquee talent volatility" into a slide deck, Wall Street code for "we don't trust star vehicles like we used to." Agencies, feeling the draft, leaned into ensemble casts and algorithm-tested intellectual property. Some insiders predict studios will soon buy out star profit participation up front, just to avoid similar domino effects. Looking ahead, deadlines stack like dominoes. By November, both sides must finish depositions. Early drafts sit on every gossip editor's hard drive, waiting to leak. A Discovery Plus docuseries drops the 17th of July, teasing unseen footage and the basement voice note in surround. Streaming platforms quietly debate: acquire the film for built-in curiosity or dodge potential PR fallout. HR seminars already cite the case when training showrunners on set safety. And then there's Taylor, mid-stadium tour, still silent. If Blake wins, her camp may recast loyalty as foresight. If Blake loses, silence remains safety. PR sages say Ryan can weather anything with a wink, but financiers notice his upcoming slate leans toward animation and sports docs, genres with lower reputational risk. One Marvel insider quipped, "Even Deadpool knows when to take off the mask." So here we stand. One basement whisper, 8 court dockets, a rumored dragon text, and no clear victors. Only careers balanced on a legal knife edge. Will Blake prove she's the wronged heroine, or will Baldoni's receipts torch her pastel empire? Will Taylor ever stitch this friendship back into her set list, or leave it buried like a vault track? And can any mid-budget film survive when its real drama streams through Pacer instead of Netflix? Drop your verdicts below, punch that thumbs up if your jaw's still hanging, and, because the next motion could drop before you finish this sentence, make sure you subscribe.